Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, I'd like to yield as much time as he may consume to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Ross, a distinguished member of the Housing and Insurance Committee.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you to the ranking member, Ms. Waters, for their support. As the Chairman pointed out, currently HUD spends more than $7 billion annually in energy and water costs. In our current fiscal environment, we must look to new technology and innovative solutions to generate savings for both taxpayers and the federal government. Today, I'm proud to ask my colleagues to join me in supporting the bipartisan H.R. 2997, the Private Investment in Housing Act. This legislation will establish a demonstration project that will encourage private sector entities to retrofit and modernize a limited number of HUD multifamily housing units at absolutely no cost to taxpayers. This legislation is necessary because nonprofits today and other entities that focus on financing for affordable housing are unable to enter into contractual agreements to retrofit HUD multifamily housing units. Imagine leveraging private capital to enhance the livability and habitability of affordable housing at no cost to the taxpayers or the federal government. It doesn't involve any risk to the federal government or the taxpayer. In fact, investors take the first loss position on energy upgrades. If energy savings from these projects are not realized after private entities enter into these contracts, the federal government does not pay anything, period. If savings through these projects are achieved, they would lower HUD's energy expenditures by as much as 20%, creating tremendous savings for the taxpayer. Private entities who take on the risk to retrofit these units will receive a $1 return for every $1 in cost savings that are verified by a third party. The demonstration program created by this legislation would help improve up to 20,000 HUD-assisted apartments, receiving project-based rental assistance, supportive housing for the elderly, or supportive housing for persons with disabilities. This demonstration project will help a limited number of people at first in Florida and across the country. However, over time, once it is a proven success, more than 48,000 eligible properties in the state of Florida alone and the 900 units in my district alone may be able to benefit, again at no expense to the taxpayer. In addition to the direct economic benefits to the taxpayers, these upgrades will bring meaningful health and other benefits to the families living in the buildings, creating a healthier and safer environment for residents. I want to thank my colleagues, Representative Jim Himes, Representative Emanuel Cleaver, ranking member of the subcommittee, and Representative John Delaney for their support on this legislation. I also want to thank Enterprise Community Partners for their support of this legislation and for their support of the projects that encourage public-private partnerships in affordable housing. With that, I ask that you join me in supporting this legislation to engage the private sector to help HUD reduce their annual $7 billion in energy and water spending, and I yield back.
Gentlemen.